Welcome to the Bo Benson Show. If you like conspiracy theories, you like what's going on in the government, you like to learn about secret societies, you like to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses, this is the perfect channel for you. Please subscribe and make a comment. Welcome to the Bo Benson Show. Alright guys, I just want to be real with you and tell you guys, I've been learning about spiritual warfare, and I've been researching a lot about the Catholic Church. I've been doing some research, especially looking at just exorcists. What they do, what their practices are, what they say, and just things of that nature. And what I found out is so shocking to me that I feel that I should share this information with you guys, because what the exorcists are saying that you need to do and things that can be done in order to ward off attacks from these entities, Watchtower is telling you to do the exact opposite. Now, I have speculated, I have thought that Watchtower is a cult organization. After watching these interviews and doing this research about spiritual warfare from the perspective of people who actually live this, do this for a living, exorcists, I am now saying that I absolutely 100% believe that Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower itself, is a satanic order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some clippets. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, and this is going to blow your mind. This is crazy. If you are a member of Jehovah's Witnesses and you're watching this, I am making this video for you personally. So one of the really interesting things, so if you watch PBD podcast, episode 179, you'll see Exorcist Father Vincent. And what Exorcist Father Vincent is talking about is he's talking about his experiences with exorcism and the processes and dealing with demons and things of that nature. And they were asking them, like, well, what kind of general things can you do to ward this off and not have this happening? And having a clean lifestyle is obviously one of them. But one of the things he said that most people don't deal with this, he says one of the things that you can do that wards off the attack is having a good, structured family life. He said that is one of the biggest protections, is having a good family life. So having you taking care of your family and then doing what is good for your family is one of the #1 things that you can do that will ward the attack of these entities, which they refer to as demons. Now, this is very, very interesting, because he's saying that when you break up the family unit, okay, that makes it so that these things have an opportunity to engage you, attack you, connect to you, and do all these things. Now, stop for a second and think about that. Now, just think about that. So, if this is true, having a good, structured, normal family life is one of the #1 defenses you can have against this attack. How crazy is that? Now, that seems so simple, but then it makes so much sense. You know, you take care of your family, you do what is right, you take care of others. It's very obvious. Now, think about the shunning practice.
If a strong family tie is your #1 defense against the enemy, and the enemy wants to take you down, then yes, disfellowshipping would be the best way to separate you from your defense, make you wide open for an attack. This is not a mistake, this is intentional. I want you to think about that. If what they're saying is true, and the family structure, the family unit, that mom and pop good old boys, if that is your number one defense against the enemy, well, the enemy wants you to take those family units down. What do you see going on right now? Why is disfellowshipping a loving practice? Who wants the family destroyed? What side wants the family destroyed? That's the question. You're right. It is a loving practice if you're on the other side. You're helping the enemy get to your loved ones by disfellowshipping. Disfellowshipping is a tool used by the enemy.
Think about the millions of dollars they've lost. Think about all the court cases that involve shunning. Think about how they represented themselves. Think about how they have lied about how they shun people. And they've denied the shunning practice in the court system over and over and over again. They're doing this because it is a necessity for their worship. Because they worship the Dark Lord. If they worship the Dark Lord, and He demands them to do this, to show Him love and compassion, He needs your defenses down, and they need to do what He wants in order to get His supposed love. Once you look at shunning and you understand it takes down the natural defenses that were given to you by your God-given rights, you realize what they are and what they're doing.
Broken and weak and alone, you are now a prime target for the enemy. This is the true reason Jehovah's Witnesses shun you. If you are shunning your family members, I am asking you from the bottom of my heart to stop. It is cruel, it is wrong, and it is evil. It is completely and utterly evil.
What's the key to success? Of the ones that are successful and someone has deliverance and can go live a life where they've, replaced it with, this belief in Christ, and now they're able to live free. What's the key to success when you've gone through your filters that you described? What's that key? Is there a key? Is there something common to the people that now live free?
I think there is. First of all, I would say that, oftentimes people that suffer are suffering alone. They're in isolation. So bringing them back into a sense of community, helping people reconnect with family and friends. Another, probably the biggest one, is helping people connect with God in their life. Because again, it's not just a matter of casting the evil out. I've said that before. I can't say it enough. It's about helping people develop an authentic relationship with God. It makes me think of the story of the Gerasene demoniac in chapter 5 of Mark's Gospel, that, the man who's possessed by legion, he's living in the tombs. Shackles won't even hold him. There's the superhuman strength. He's possessed by legion. Jesus casts the demons out. They go into the swine. The demons show their true character. They destroy the swine. They race over the hillside. They drown in the lake. Most people, when they're reading that biblical account, will stop reading at that point. But I would suggest the most important thing happens next. The man who's now free wants to follow Jesus, and Jesus says no. Now, how often in the Bible does Jesus tell somebody not to follow him? What does Jesus say to him? No, go home to your family. So Jesus takes someone who was living amongst the dead in the tombs and places him back amongst the living with his family. So again, creating healthy relationships is one of the ways that evil can be defeated. Creating healthy relationships is one of the ways that evil can be defeated. Creating healthy relationships is one of the ways that evil can be defeated.
So you don't need to take my word for it, right? If you're a believer, the Bible has given you this lesson and told you. Even Jesus warned you, your most powerful defense against evil, besides himself, is the family. The family. your blood. Remember, blood is thicker than water. Those terms mean something. If they mean something to you, then think about the people who are telling you that they don't. Because blood isn't thicker than water in the eyes of witnesses. Matter of fact, they don't consider their brothers and sisters their brothers and sisters. They completely disregard that family unit and that order from Jesus Christ himself. Now, if you're a religious person and you believe this, ask yourself, why are Jehovah's Witnesses wanting to create a false family unit that is under the control of men? Why are they not following Jesus' orders and Jesus' practice? Why are they outside of that? Why are they doing something else that someone else tells them to do? Disfellowship. Who created disfellowshipping? Who pushed this? The governing body. If the governing body know this, and they know what the Bible says about this, and they choose to do the exact opposite, who are they really working for? That's a question for you. Now, one of the things the Jehovah's Witnesses are absolutely famous for is the dislike and hatred of the cross. Because it's a false idol, they say. That Jesus didn't die on a cross, that he died on a stake. And where does that come from? Well, witnesses don't really even know. They just claim that that's what the Romans did and that this is the truth and that everyone else is confused. Well, that's not what the Romans did. It's not historically accurate, and we know he died on a cross because the records show that he died on a cross. People who commit the crime that Jesus was accused of were put on crosses. That's how the Romans did it. So we know for a fact that this idea that they put him on a stake isn't true. So why would it be so important to Jehovah's Witnesses to make sure that all aspects of the cross are removed? Because remember, when Jehovah's Witnesses first started out, they did use the cross. It's in their literature. But then they changed their mind. At what point did they do that? Why did they do that? Well, when they did it, not really too relevant. Why they did it is very relevant. Because the cross is a tool to be used against evil. Think of it as a sword to help defend yourself against evil itself. If you remove that sword, it's one less weapon you have to defend yourself. And when you think about it like that, then it makes a lot more sense.
Devil and God and the saints and the angels, maybe not the saints, they would say, but I believe in pretty much all of it. But why do I need holy water? Why do I need to go through some ritual? Why do I need some priest to confer some sacrament or blessing on me? Why do I need all this stuff? Why do I need a rosary? Why do I need all the stuff that you Catholics have? Why can't I just think it?
You don't need it. You don't. But it's like you're going into a battle and you can take no weapons or you can take every weapon available.
Yeah.
I'm taking every weapon available. Why not? I want the shield. I want the sword. You're saying I'll pass on everything. Okay, good luck. Now, do you need these things to get to heaven? You don't.
So I hope I'm making this abundantly clear. The stake, the only reason the Jehovah's Witnesses, in my opinion, have this whole thing about the anti-cross thing at stake is because if my theory is correct and the organization is what I say it is, then they would want as many people as they can to be open for these attacks and to have no defense. Your family's broken. You don't use any tools to defend yourself. Now think about this. Now they're going to talk about this, and I'm not really going to show this, but they discuss about how certain ailments, sicknesses, are attributed to possession. Now, I'm not saying that every illness out there is because of demons or anything of the nature, but I'm saying that it can manifest itself in a form of sickness, is what the Catholic Church is saying. Now, they go to great lengths to try to prove that you are possessed rather than illness before they ever do an exorcism. I want you to think about the health of Jehovah's Witnesses. I've talked about this before, but really honestly stop for a second and think about what I'm going to tell you. How many of them are obese? How many of them have health problems at young ages? How many of them have cancer? How many of them have mental illnesses? If what these people are saying is true, and you can be attacked by these entities, and sicknesses can occur from being attacked, and you have no defense because you removed your defenses, this is the key point, willingly, then that would explain a lot. Why do witnesses have such bad luck? They always say it's because of persecution, and they're right. And they say that demons are attacking them all the time because they have the one true religion. Well, one statement is true. They're being attacked. Do they have the one true religion? No. They obviously don't. Because that religion is 140 years old, folks. It's a cult. It is a new cult. It is a cult created by the Masonic order. All right, so let's talk about the correlations between Bahamut. Bahamut's imagery, Bahamut worship is all throughout Jehovah's Witness literature. It's in the magazines, it's in the imagery. There are Bahamut images all over Watchtower's literature. The magazine Watchtower itself has satanic symbols all throughout it. Why is that? Well, because Bahamut is the deity that the Knights Templar were accused of worshiping. The Knights Templar are the same order that created the Freemasons. The Freemasons and the Knight Templar go together. They worship Bahamut. Bahamut is another name for Satanism. The correlation is really simple.
Practicing all sorts of human sacrifice. We look back, we say that's savage, that's barbaric. We are practicing human sacrifice on a far greater scale than any other historical epoch. Not even close.
Yeah. And just to touch back on some of the occult stuff, there are witches who go on record saying they'll pay for abortions if they can be present for the abortion. Okay, why do they do that? Because they're making, since they paid for it, they're making the sacrifice to the devil. This is documented. This isn't right. You know, this is real cases of women who said this. The woman came up to say she wanted to pay for the abortion, and turns out they've looked them up and they're a practicing witch. The other thing, going back, I'm just tying up loose ends here. So when we talked about the transgender, I don't know if you know this, but one of the ancient images of Satan is Baphomet.
Yeah.
Okay. What is Baphomet? So he's got the goat head. Yeah. He's got the women's torso with the breasts and the man's down below. So that's not a new thing. So imagine the devil, he identifies as transgender as that image.
I made this point the other day on the show, not explicitly or directly with regard to Baphomet, but I just said, isn't it odd that depictions of demons tend toward androgyny, transgenderism, this kind of hatred of the human body as it is actually made?
They hate us. They hate us.
Well, why do they hate our sex? Why do they hate our sexual complementarity and difference?
That's a great question. The only way man participates in creation is through the marital embrace. We can't create anything. We can build, but we can't create. But when we come together and make a baby, man actually participates with God in creation. The demons can't do that. They can't create.
They don't have bodies.
Can't create. So the fact, that's one. The second is that the Word incarnated in human flesh drives them crazy because it elevated humans above them, because now this divine person has a human body. That's the two reasons they hate us.
So we're talking about physical things. I know a lot of people are going to say, look, I have faith. I believe that evil.
So Baphomet and Bahamut are two ways of saying the same thing, just so you guys are aware. Bahamut is something you commonly see in more Asianistic material. But I want you guys to know that. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is I want you to think about sacrificing. So it's important for Satanists to sacrifice victims in order to obtain more power, wealth, and blessings from their deity. How do they do that? Sacrifice. They can have you do a sacrifice without you knowing it and be blessed by it. That's the key point. So can you think of any sacrifices that you are making for the organization? A blood sacrifice, a blood oath? If you know anything about blood and how important blood is to the satanic orders, the occult, Watchtower, you're making a blood sacrifice of yourself. You're committing suicide by not taking blood to save your own life. That is a human sacrifice. Watchtower, every single time one of these people do this, what do? They praise them and they make a martyr of them. A martyr. So the martyr is the poor child or person who gives up their life for Jehovah by not taking blood. And they're so proud to do this. And Watchtower is so proud to gluttonly support this, push this in your face. You're asking someone to commit suicide. Suicide is a sin. It's that simple. All right, so what's another thing that takes place that witnesses can't stand? How people look up to and revere the Virgin Mary. They can't stand that people pray to the Virgin Mary. They hate it. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that this is wrong, that this is evil. Think about that. What is Jesus' perspective about Mary? Just think about it for a second. Mary was the person that God chose to avatar himself into, is what the belief system is. So Mary is super important to Jesus. Mary is Jesus's favorite person. Think about that for a second. The Bible is very clear about this. Witnesses tell you the exact opposite. Why?
It's the person you're most, maybe after God the Father, would be most in love with.
Yeah.
If you think of it on those terms, this is the person Jesus loved most on the planet. And if you really love him, wouldn't you want to know her? She's not God, but he's given her great authority and power and the ability to distribute grace through her hands because of his love for her. And the only thing she does is lead people back to him. If they came to know that, they would be running to her, because the fastest way to get close to Jesus is to go through his mother, because he designed it that way, not because it has to be. He wanted it to be. This is the way he came to meet us, through her. And so he wants us to go through her to meet him, similarly going back.
So when you realize how important the Virgin Mary is, the cross, the family unit is for Christianity from the Bible, things start to make a lot more sense. If Watchtower isn't really what they say they are, that would make a lot more sense why they teach the things that they do. The Trinity doesn't exist. Jesus isn't God. Jesus is an angel. Mary is just an average, just like you or me. There's nothing special about her, which is not true. And what's the worst thing? That the deity that gave himself a physical form in this belief system sacrificed himself to relieve sin from you on a cross. And that cross is a symbol of his devotion to saving you from evil. And now you disregard it, push it to the side, and shame it. If Satanism is really Watchtower, the belief systems that Jehovah's Witnesses have that are unique to them make sense. If you don't think that they're Satanists and you try to think about 1914, the cross, the stake, all this bizarre shit that they have that doesn't make any sense, that you're just told that you have to believe, and if you don't, you get punished, your family gets taken away. Does it sound like love to you, or does it sound like something else? Let's just think about all this for a moment. If you were an enemy of good and you wanted to hide, you'd want to present yourself as an ally, and then you'd want to stab your enemy in the back. If the cross is a tool, a sword to defend against evil, it's removed. If Mary is a shield to defend yourself against evil, it's been removed. If you have literature and books from the organization, and it has satanic symbols in it, like they all do, like we've shown you hundreds of times, those are spells. Those are satanic spells. Those are satanic practices. And what you have done is you've brought the literature into your home and you've lowered one of your safeguards. You have allowed the spell into your sanctuary. Now think about the governing body themselves. When put on court in front of everyone and called out before the Bible to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, what did they say? Jehovah's Witnesses have a child molestation problem. 2012 Australian Royal Commission. Jehovah's Witnesses keep a record of sex offenders in a database they don't give to the police. Jehovah's Witnesses governing body member Jeffrey Jackson said that they are not the only way to God, and that saying that was inappropriate and it's not accurate. It is the only time we have ever seen the governing body give true statements. It is the only documented time that Jehovah's Witnesses leaders, the governing body, one of their members, gave actual true statements. When they were called out in court, under oath, under the Bible, they told the truth for the first time in their history of 140 years.
When an elder is in harmony with what the Bible says is required of an elder, then he is appointed by Holy Spirit.
So
the same is true with the governing body.
And do you see yourselves as Jehovah God's spokespeople on earth?
That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. The scriptures clearly show that someone can act in harmony with God's Spirit in giving comfort and help in the congregations.
If they would lie about that, what else would they not lie to you about? That's the question I'm asking you. Colleagues, friends, brothers, sisters.
Every time we're getting into a topic, there's been some weird sound that goes off in this building. Maybe it's just the degradation of society that we can't even keep the buildings and the studios running anymore. But I've done a lot of these interviews, Father, and I don't want to make you feel bad and make you think it's just you. But you come in here, we've had to pause and stop and cut and restart this interview almost every 7 to 10 minutes. And then only when I said, okay, well, let's just include it and I'll mention it. I'll mention these weird situations in the film. Only once I said that, we haven't had a problem since. I'm not saying it's you, Father.
It could be.
I think it might be.
I think it's me too. This happens to me, my whole life is like this now. So part of my life is just surrendering and saying, Lord, you get done what you want done, and I'll just take authority when I have to.
I'm not surprised. I think of Father John Vianney, St. John, patron saint of parish priests, who the devil would bother him all the time.
Pio, too.
And Padre Pio. There's a story of St. John Vianney in the confessional. He's hearing from a penitent. And
now, you could all wrap this up as just a coincidence, but I'm just going to tell you guys something. When I woke up and decided I wasn't going to make my video about Hollywood, I was going to make it about this, something strange happened to me. I woke up and I was totally fine. When I decided I was going to make this video, I have become ill. I am coughing up green stuff. I am just absolutely feeling like crap right now. My phone system is not working correctly. I'm having all kinds of issues. Downloading stuff wasn't downloading. I downloaded a picture of Mary, and what came up was a transgender cartoon character instead. I also downloaded a video of the governing body member talking about it. I had to go back several times because it came back with blank, nothing. And this is another strange coincidence, I'll just say it. I have a very expensive pond system, and I have what we call a biological filter system. And the biological filter system just got cleaned, perfectly running great. No issues. I was looking at it last night. It was full 100% functionality. And the system is completely clogged. And just so you know, I have to actually physically get into the pond itself, climb in there, fully put on a suit to get in there and do anything. And I can't do that right now because I just gave my special medication injection. And I can't go in water or risk infection, so I can't touch it. Now, I'm just going to tell you, this is a lot of weird stuff. All happening just this morning. And I just decided I was going to make this video. Now, I'm telling you this, and some people are going to say it's just a coincidence, and you're just seeing things and matching things, and it's a possibility, I suppose. But I've noticed this pattern. When you talk about the occult of Jehovah's Witnesses, you have issues. People talk about their emails being hacked, and we always say, it's Watchtower, or maybe it's some agency working with Watchtower, CIA, FBI, whatever. And it's a possibility, but I never really thought about this. It could be something else messing with your electronics. Never dawned on me until I started learning about spiritual warfare, the real spiritual warfare. It never dawned on me until I started talking to exorcists. Never would have given this a thought. It wasn't until I watched these videos, and I don't know why I did, and I said, I can't believe how these things are so similar. The practices of Satanism, the tools of Satanism are so similar to Watchtower that it just made me sick. It made me honestly physically sick. I'm coughing up green stuff. My throat is killing me, but it's not going to stop me. I'm making this video, and I'm going to publish it. And if you're seeing it, please share it. One more statement. I've talked about how my old channel was much bigger than this one, and how much it irritates me and they're doing something. I don't care anymore. I think that they are doing that on purpose, and I have had a complete and utter change of opinion or heart about what this is and what I'm doing here and what I'm seeing here. I liked for the public to see my stuff. I enjoyed that. I don't care anymore. If 2 people watch this video, 1 person watches this video, and they look at this and they say, you know what? I want to make some changes for my life and my lifestyle, and I want it to be better, and I want to help my family, and I want to take care of my family, then this was absolutely worth it. I don't care about ratings. I don't care about subscribers. I don't care about any of that anymore. All I want to do is let people know the information that need it, and this will get to them if they need it. If this is going to help you and you're seeing this, and this is helping waking you up and see things that you've never seen before, then I'm grateful that you had this opportunity. Be so kind as to share this with other people. Or, if you're not comfortable with that and you want to do even better, make videos, share your experiences with other people. Because what doesn't really go well with someone can go better with someone else. My word and my way of doing things is good for certain things. Some people are better at saying things and doing things than me. The more voices out there, the more people getting help, the better it is. And with that being said, thank you for listening.